Hi, this is Isabel Letzler. Welcome to my channel. This is the place to be to develop your skills and grow your potential. So I do this via online training, including with myself or via networking. A big part of it is really to help you become more autonomous in managing your life and your career. So in today's video, I help non-typical profile understand what they have to do to plug into the Swiss market. This is a question I get all the time. People have different kinds of experience, and usually it matches with a lot of difficulty with the Swiss market, which is really a specialist market. So I want to give you 3 tips today on how to make that better for yourself. So the number one thing is to check the local market. I know I said this before, but you really need to have a better understanding of what the Swiss want in terms of skills, in terms of experience. So you do this by checking sites like jobup.ch, jobs.ch, indeed.ch. Those are the 3 big websites where you have a broad view of what's out there. So of course, when I advise people on careers and things that are growing in Switzerland, in my view, there's the safe bet. So anything linked to food, shelter, and medical, because those are things people will always need no matter what. And then there's the developing field, a little bit everywhere in the world, actually linked to artificial intelligence and the digital world. So anything on digital basically is a growth area. So if you're young and you're studying, these are areas where you can find a job. And not just in Switzerland, also in other countries. So that's really the first thing, is to develop a better understanding of the local market. Number 2 is you need to understand yourself, your skills, who you are, and what you have to offer. I know many people don't do this work. They just see a job, and I plead guilty myself. When I was younger, I just applied. I didn't really do so much the soul search or what I really wanted when I was much younger, because we're not really trained to do this. I think some universities now include, I know when I was teaching my course, it was part of it, where I also gave some time for students to think about their self-assessment and what they wanted to achieve in their life, their goals. So self-improvement, personal development now is sometimes included in programs, because the idea is really to understand yourself. That's really the biggest learning you will have in your life, is understanding what you want. Because until you know this, you're always going to go around in circles, maybe work in jobs that you don't like. So the first thing, the most important thing, is really understanding what is the value that you have to offer. What are you really good at, basically? And this is sometimes something that takes a little bit of time. You may not know what you're good at 20 because you're still young in life and you haven't had a lot of experience. Some people do know. I mean, you have a lot of superstars at 20 already, singers, actors, etc. But most people at 20, you're still a little bit young and you need more experience. And via experience, you will know what you're good at, what you're not so good at. So I wouldn't be so worried about it, but at least start thinking about what you're good at, what you really love to do, where you could bring value. So that's number 2. And number 3 is really to identify where you're missing something potentially. And I say potentially because when I meet with individuals, they're very keen to train themselves, which is great, but sometimes it's not really what they need. So in other words, what you need to do is say, okay, this is the job that I want. Let's say you want to be an accountant in Switzerland. And right now you're a human resources person, or you're an admin or something different. So you need to look at, what do you need? What are you missing? Is it a huge thing, or is it just maybe a couple of classes? And this is what will determine, whether you will be called in or not. So I'll give you a very simple example. If you're an admin assistant, for example, and you do a lot of paper processing, answering phone calls and coordinating, and you're targeting an entry-level finance assistant, where you're going to be doing pretty much the same things, calling people, checking invoices, sending through invoices to be signed off by the individuals, like travel expenses and things like that. Probably the match is so similar that you don't need to do a whole lot of training. You just need maybe to present your resume in a way that people can see you can do the work. So you will push forward the fact that you've coordinated with individuals and you've sent through their expense report, and they can see you could be a good, basically, accounting assistant. However, if now you're saying, well, I'm in human resources and I want to be a finance manager or something like that, or even an accountant, well, probably you will miss a lot of things. You know, accounting is really a job where you need to understand how to present the information. There's some rules on, you know, how you do the spreadsheet, and you need to present it to your manager in such a way where, you know, people can understand. Also, there's deductions that need to be and calculations that need to be put in, where if you don't know anything about accounting, you will probably be lost completely. So if you're an accounting assistant, you see where it's support role, an admin assistant could get into this job. Now, if you're an accountant, if you're targeting an accountant and you're an admin assistant or HR or something else, you will need to understand the rules, so there training is a little bit needed. So basically anything that requires some level of technicity will require a little bit of training to be credible. So the question is, when you're looking at a job on a job board, you want to apply, the question you should ask yourself is, would I be credible in this job? Would I be able to stand to a manager, colleagues, external people, and people can listen to my conversation. They can understand what I'm talking about, and I'm credible. I know what I'm talking about. So I see two kinds of people. Sometimes people are a little bit too low in their confidence, where they could do the job, but they just don't have the confidence. And then I see people that are overly confident. They think they can do the job, but they lack completely the technicity. So you need to find the right, the medium, happy middle ground where you're credible enough and you can do the job. So this is something, of course, I work with individuals on. You're welcome to check my website, Working with Isabel, and book a session together if you want to get more into your personal situation, because this is also a very fine line on how you introduce your resume and whether you're credible and all that stuff. So this is what I have to say for today. If you're a non-typical profile, just basically know that there's very little chances that you can apply directly without having to do a little bit of work on your profile, on your resume, to be credible. So I hope this was helpful. I'll talk to you soon.